To work. How you all doing? Well, not get to work. I'm working. Hopefully you all are chilling. First of all, to the Las Vegas family, it's hot as hell in this town. Oh my God, it was like a 150 in Vegas. Man, how hot is it in your town? You all can post a comment and let me know how hot it is in your town. It's hot in the studio right now. It's going to be hot all around the country as we prepare to send our kids back to school. Can you all believe that under the circumstances that we have going on right now, with the outbreak just blowing up bigger than ever, that they want to send our kids back to school under these circumstances? That's crazy. 15,000 new cases in Florida, a record number of cases in South Carolina. To the family in South Carolina, you all had a record number of cases and your first child death to COVID-19, which is a 5-year-old. This stuff is getting serious. Well, it's been serious. It's getting worse. You know, and it's one thing sending the adults back. It's one thing sending all the essential workers back. It's one thing to have the bars open. Stupid. You know, that's one thing. How ridiculous is it to ask us to send our kids back into these schools under these circumstances? And why you all are calling in, because, you know, we can do more than one thing at a time because we got an opinion about everything. Y'all got an opinion about every damn thing. So call in right now and tell me how you feel about Jada Pinkett. Now, I love Jada. If you all saw Red Table Talk, you need to call in. If you didn't, you should. Because it wasn't even so much about her relationship with August Alsina, because I don't really care about that stuff. I'm not that gossipy kind of guy. But I dig Jada's transparency. I dig the maturity in which her and Will are able to communicate. I love their honesty and maturity. Something that's missing in most relationships. Let's just be honest. I don't care how you living. And then Jada also went deep into how she was trying to work on herself. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. So call in right now.
Oh, this is Terrell, Michael, from South Carolina.
What's up, Terrell? Oh, man, South Carolina just got hit, dude.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir? T? How's everything?
Oh, man, everything's everything, Mike. But I was just calling in to say, Mike, I think it's all political games. What Trump is really doing, you know, he's opening up the schools because he knows in order for people to go back to work, he first has to open up
my man. Good one, T.
Yep. Yeah. So he's putting profit over people, man.
And you know, it's interesting now I get a call from South Carolina. That's really interesting to me because you had a record number of cases on Saturday, and you all had your first death. The child died. A 5-year-old died in South Carolina. So this thing is getting real in South Kakalaki, man.
Yes, sir. And, man, you know, people that's still not wearing masks, our governor, you know, he's closed bars at 11.
Right. I was like, dude, what difference it make you close them at? I saw that, T. I saw that. I was like, man, what are you doing closing bars? Was it 11, 11:30?
11 he's doing it. But,
guy.
Man, there's still no real policy. He's not really, you know, putting his foot down, trying to, you know, to put a stop to this thing, man. He's just playing Trump's card, doing whatever. He's like a puppet almost.
Yeah,
like,
but there's too many of them out there. And see, last week, T, we talked about whether or not people felt safe sending their kids back to school. Hell no. I mean, come on, man. Nobody feels safe.
Right.
But when you think about the numbers, 15,000 new cases in Florida, right? A record number of cases in your state of South Carolina, Texas blowing up, everything. This is the time that they want to send kids back to school when it's worse now than it was when they closed schools in the first place.
Exactly, Mike. Exactly. So, you know, and my question is, how are they going to social distance on a school bus, you know, going back to school, man? I mean, there's no social distancing on a school bus, Mike.
I got another one for you.
Crazy.
I got another one for you, T. Hold on. You think it's crazy. I got another crazy one for you. You ready for some more crazy, man?
Okay.
All right. Who's going to have the PPE? Who's going to have the protective equipment for the kids and for the students? Dude, they don't have enough for the nurses and doctors. You think they're going to have PPE for all these teachers and students and faculty inside of these schools?
No, sir. No, sir. Believe me, I know. My wife is a nurse, man. She comes home crying every day.
Wow.
You know, short of masks, having to reuse masks, having to reuse PPE.
So stop. If your wife, who's a nurse, is already reusing PPE, how in the world do you all think this man is going to make sure he provide for every teacher in the country?
Can't be done, man.
It can't be done.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. This is some fragganackle bull. That's what you should have said, T. You should have said it's some fragganackle bull. That's what it is. Hey, man, tell your wife to be careful, man. I appreciate you calling in.
All right. Appreciate you, Mike.
Hey, Michelle, where you calling from?
I'm calling from Texas. I'm the one that work at the unemployment
Oh,
office.
here we go again. See, that's why y'all ain't getting y'all money. I keep telling you, Michelle ain't going to cut y'all no check. Hey, Michelle, first of all, it's great to hear from you again down at the unemployment office in Texas. Texas, of course, the numbers are still going up again. We're talking about the kids going back to school. I mean, where we at now in Texas? What's happening?
Well, I called my son and told him he better not send my grandkids to school. He started homeschooling them, and he's going to continue to homeschool them because it's crazy. If cases going up, who's going to protect the kids when they do go to school?
You know, the social distancing is impossible. You know, if you all watch the news, the administrator out of Virginia said he would need 5 Pentagon buildings to follow the CDC guidelines to effectively social distance. It can't be done.
It can't because kids not going to social distance.
Exactly.
You know, my granddaughter, when I talk to her on the phone, she's calling Mimi, when you coming over? Mm-hmm. Mimi social distancing because, you know, I wouldn't even know how to live if I gave something to them.
Did you hear about the teachers at family? I don't know if y'all heard this. I'm talking to my family on social media as well. Did you all hear about the teachers in Arizona? They did summer school. 3 of the teachers got infected. They had PPE and everything, and 1 of the teachers died.
And that's awful, you know, for them to put, you know, somebody's well-being at risk because y'all want to do this political thing.
I mean, look at what happened in New York. They did the right thing in New York. Their numbers are going. They flattened it out. If everybody would have followed the science and did the right thing, Michelle, we would be okay right now. But they didn't.
Correct.
So now we jacked up. I'm going to say this again to you and everybody listening. I'll ask you all a question. Do you all really believe that they're going to have enough PPE for teachers, faculty, and students every day, 5 days a week? If you believe that, I got some land I want to sell you in the Middle Ocean. I'm telling you, if you believe that, you'll believe anything. Hey, Michelle, thanks for hitting me up. Family.
Hey, Michael, this is Carla from Nashville. How are you?
I'm doing great. You know, I got a lot on my mind today. Of course, I'm concerned about what's going on with COVID-19 and the schools opening. But at the same time, there's a relationship thing with Jada and Will. I was so impressed by her Red Table Talk. I just think a lot of people can learn a lot from their transparency and their honesty. Your thoughts?
I agree. The emotional maturity that they displayed was awesome. And being divorced, I kind of sat back and looked at that conversation, and I was a little bit envious because, you know, everybody should be able to communicate that way with their partner, to work through it all. That's the promise that you make. That's the vow that you make.
What do you mean? What do you mean by emotional maturity? Break that down for me.
I'm saying that most people can't sit down and have a conversation about cheating without just losing their minds. They're angry, they're bitter, they're emotional. They were able to just pull it all back, sit down, speak calmly, speak respectfully.
But wasn't it deep? I'm sorry to cut you off, but it wasn't a conversation about cheating. Because Will and Jada, it surprised me. It didn't surprise me one way or the other because I don't have an expectation. But they were not together. So it wasn't. Right.
Well, I'm sorry. Technically, they were legally still married, so they were together.
Yeah, but they
Michael.
were. No, hold on. No, I'm sorry. We got to make this distinction. They communicate this clearly that they had both decided to go their own way, and neither one of them expected to get back together again. So this was not cheating in a marriage. They just hadn't gone through the divorce process. So I just want to make that clear.
I get that, and I heard that part. What I'm saying is technically until you have legally divorced, you're still married.
But what is I'm sorry. What is see, now, this is why I enjoy this kind of conversation. So if I'm technically married to you and we decide that we're going to see other people or that we're going to separate until I'm actually divorced, I'm not supposed to see anybody?
I didn't say that.
Oh, I was asking.
Technically, they were still married.
Okay, but that's irrelevant to the point of their conversation is that they weren't together. So the fact that she was seeing this guy means nothing. She was just seeing somebody, and her and her husband had already decided they were going their separate ways.
I hear you.
I just don't want you to use the word cheating when they weren't cheating.
Okay.
Now I got to come back. Hold on, Carla. Now I got to bring you back. That's right. I'm bringing Carla back because I want to get the full scope of this, man. This is why it's so important for me to have these sort of conversations because we got to be clear on what cheating is. We got to be clear on what I love her expression, emotional maturity. But you don't have to be cheating to fix something to be emotionally mature. You could just talk about whatever the problem is. Your final thoughts on it? We, got our stuff together on whether or not they were cheating. Nobody was cheating. We agree on that, right?
Okay. So before they got to the point that they were agreeing to separate, they had a conversation about cheating. Cheating came up at some point. I don't believe that Will just learned about August Alsina, or whatever his name is, last week. I don't believe that. But they had to have a discussion about cheating.
No, you don't.
And what I'm saying,
No, I'm sorry. I got to stop you. You don't have, if you and I are in a relationship, Carl, if you're my woman and you and I have only conversation we need to have is that we're not going to be together. Once we decide we're not going to be together, we are, in essence, two people who can do whatever they want to do without being considered cheaters. And I don't know why that's not clear.
Okay. If you say so, Mike, but that's not what we're talking about.
I mean, but
I get it.
Every time you use the word cheating, they weren't cheating on each other.
Okay.
And if you all agree or disagree, please call in. I would love to hear your perspective, but go ahead, Carl. I'm sorry. Continue.
Do you think that Will felt like she was cheating?
No, I don't.
You know? Okay.
No.
He looked like he felt like she was cheating.
Well, look, just because you have decided to separate from someone doesn't mean it doesn't hurt you to think about your partner being with someone else. It doesn't mean that they're cheating on you.
Right.
But I get you, though, Carl.
Exactly.
Look, all I wanted to do, first of all, I appreciate the emotional maturity comment, but we really need to start being clear because some people are not used to having but one kind of relationship. Everything to them outside of being married and committed is cheating, and it's just not. That's why you have to customize your relationship, and that's why you have to have mature, open, and honest communication. This is what this show is about today.
This is what I agree with you on.
What? You agree with me? Oh, my God. Stop the call now. Stop the call now while I'm ahead. Come back. Ken is called in. Hey, Ken, man, I appreciate you calling in, brother. What's on your mind? Did you see the Red Table Talk with Will and Jada, and your thoughts?
Yes, sir. I've seen it multiple times, and thank you for having me, Mike. What I think a lot of people are missing here, that she did not cheat. There was an amicable agreement that both of them was going separate ways.
That's what I thought.
There is no way that someone can cheat on someone when they've agreed to go separate ways, Mike.
That's my thought.
What I love about
That's my thought. That was my thought. But, go ahead.
So the way what I gather from that is, and I'm a student of my wife, and that's why I always tell men and women you have to become a student of the person that you're with. Well, women always revert back to, and I've seen another interview with another female a couple about that, and then she said, I just want to feel good.
Right.
That is significant because what she's saying is we don't date anymore. You don't do the same things for me or with me that you did to get me. And I feel alone in this by myself. So we split, and I went to seek that from someone else, which we both agreed that was okay.
And she went even deeper than that, Ken. She was going deeper than finding something she felt. She said, I was finding something to find myself. And many of us, men and women both, get into relationships to find ourselves, to fix ourselves. Go ahead, Ken.
So, and that's the thing. It's a healing process. And that's the best thing about maturity for those who have been married. You grow with an individual. You learn to accept the flaws of one, right? So once you're able to do that, you're able to go to that unconditional love part. I love you past your flaws. I love you past your transgression. And this is how you develop a life partner.
My man. I love it, Ken. When I ask people what are the benefits of watching the program, I mean, I get it. I don't have any problem, Chris, if you're still watching and listening. I have any problem with you all critiquing it. But, man, I think there's so much to be taken away from that is helpful. You know what I'm saying, Ken? What she said about, fixing herself through someone is something everybody can relate to.
Yes.
Even when they joked around and said bad relationship for life. I get it. It was a play on the term bad boys for life. But what she was basically saying, in my opinion, the way I interpret it was relationships are going to have some really bad moments, man. They can have bad periods, when you really don't want to be together, when you really think it's over, everybody who's been married has been through it. Ken, I got to grab some more calls, man, but thank you for bringing that up. Thank you all for tuning to the show tonight. Please tune in tomorrow. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on with these school systems right now. It is truly scary. And I want to say this before I go. Two things before I go. First, in terms of COVID-19, I cannot believe that Trump supporters are going to trust this man enough with their children. I said this earlier, I'll say it again. It's one thing trusting when it comes to opening up bars and restaurants and, things of that nature. We're adults. We make certain choices. We talk about these schools opening up. But now this thing is 50 times worse than it was in March and April when they closed down schools. Now you think it's safe to open schools when it's much worse now? When the nurses and doctors are already saying they don't have enough PPE, the doctors and nurses don't have enough PPE, but you think the teachers are going to have enough. You crazy if you believe that. And on the last note, when it comes to Jada and Will, I said it before, I'll say it again. I don't know what's going on in their relationship. I don't care what's going on in their relationship. Whatever makes them happy, whatever they want to explore as a couple is their business. But the one thing I do respect and the one thing I do admire is their ability to talk about it in a way that's calm, in a way that's mature, in a way that's not pointing fingers, in a way that is transparent. And I don't care if you're in a monogamous relationship or however you define it, the vast majority of people cannot do that because they're lying, not only to their partner, but to themselves. So I admire that. I admire what she said about finding herself. I admire about even the joke they told about bad relationship for life. All they were saying is, man, there's a lot of bad stuff that happens during marriage. Especially 25 years of it, children, the type of careers they have, being in Hollywood, come on. The fact that they're still together is admirable, regardless of what kind of relationship they have. So why don't we focus on the communication and the maturity and the transparency and leave all the judgment for another show. Thank you all for tuning in, family. I got to go. I got to get back to work. Have a good night. See you guys on Bazing After Dark tomorrow.